All right, hello everyone, and now welcome to game number one. Well, the only game I will be casting in this particular series, between 120 and Infi. 120 spawning as the red undead over here on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, over here on the top right, we have Infi spawning as the blue undead. This is going to be an undead versus undead mirror match taking place here on Echo Isle, and as you guys can see, there are in fact observers, hence the fact that I can watch with true fog of war to see if the players can actually spot each other a little bit better. Now, what are we going to be looking at in this particular matchup? Undead versus undead is always one of my favorite matchups in terms of mirror because you may actually see a lich first. It is maybe like 1 in 4 games or 1 in 5 games where you'll actually see a lich first, just because hero nuking is that important for the undead. There you see the Death Knight. Are we going to be looking at another Death Knight? Yeah, I do believe it is going to be another Death Knight. You can see Infi is going to be opening up with Crypt Fiends. Meanwhile, we're going to be looking at a much more ghoul-style opening coming in from 120. Now, what that means is that 120 should be able to clear creep camps a little bit faster, but the Death Knight with those Crypt Fiends, the Crypt Fiends being a much more versatile unit to go into the late game, you should end up having Infi being a little bit stronger in the early mid-game, and then into the mid-game if he can reach a strong enough number of those units. It is going to be Death Knight versus Death Knight here. Let's take a look. Ghouls are still being added. Crypt is still being constructed, as the Death Knight should be headed back off to the north here, clearing out the Ogre Warriors and these Forest Troll Trappers with relative ease. Death Knight is out, picks up a Rod of Necromancy, and is already making its way down over here to finish off these Ogre Warriors and the Forest Troll Trapper. Let's see how far they really make it. There you go. You can see the attack already coming across, and the Death Knight purposely using the Death Coil to get some extra damage onto the Ogre Warrior. Now, the question is, why would you do that? It doesn't seem like a very efficient use of mana. But all at the same time, 120 knows that he's probably not going to find his opponent anytime soon, so he shouldn't really be worried about whether or not he has maximum mana come the next fight. You can see him already up to 225, and that's after he got a Circlet of Nobility, so he's only, 55 mana off from his opponent from maximum mana, as he now makes his way across. Infi, on the other hand, does have double Crypt Fiends, and he will be able to clear out this creep camp fairly fast, as well as skeletal minions are ready to put in some pressure. Very, very fast tech to tier 2 as Crypt Fiends are being added, and all the Death Knight can really hope to do here is perhaps come in with a little bit of harassment, trying to steal some experience with a long-distance Death Coil. There's not much that can really be done, as a Rod of Necromancy was used in time, and now this Death Knight of Infi needs to pull back. Skeletal minions were trying to make their way through. Now, Blight is one of those things where it doesn't matter what undead unit you, what undead you are, you still are able to heal up from your opponent's Blight as well. So there is really no home field advantage, save for those Nerubian Towers and the Black Citadel and the Halls of the Dead. Ogre Magi here should end up getting taken down. There's another Circlet of Nobility, as the Death Knight will be backing off. But the problem now is that Undead doesn't have an easy way to heal aside from Unholy Aura, which the Death Knight has, and that's not even a direct heal, and staying on Blight. Until he gets his Slaughterhouse up and operational from the tier 2 upgrade, he's not going to really be able to pressure and push all that much. Death Knight now does steal, or did kill off an Ogre Warrior there, who's going to be able to come across a little bit further. He's trying to check the shops. It looks as though the Ogre Warrior does get taken down. Tome of Intelligence is added, and you can see more and more damage being pushed through here. There's an Ensnare right now, and is damage going to start to get absorbed by those lower hit point units? That's the big question, as that unit is currently ensnared and a little bit of trouble, but the Death Knight of 120 actually getting caught in midfield and having some difficulties of his own. This Death Knight, did it pick up an item? No. Claws of Attack +6. Perhaps he stole it from the shop while it was being raided, or perhaps bought it, not necessarily stealing. But the Death Knight in this engagement so far whoever is taking damage from the Forest Troll Trappers and the Ogre Warriors is really the one at the loss. Death Knight did finish off that kill here, 238 compared to 337. Who's going to come out on top? 185 mana versus 177. We are pretty much neck and neck as we are trying to figure out who can perhaps dish out just a little bit more damage to the opponent. Death Coil does do a little bit of a save there. Death Knight now may be forced to pull back as a Naga Sea Witch shows up to the party. Beautiful use of the Naga Sea Witch as the Naga Sea Witch now looking to put some damage onto the Death Knight. Death Knight now in serious trouble, down to 136 hit points. Is it going to get taken down? Down to 64, and it is able to escape. Nicely done there, and this will allow the Death Knight the proper time to finish off the remaining creep camp, pick off the Ogre Magi, which does drop the best item on this particular map, save for the Gargantuan Sea Turtles in the corner. But that will be much, much later in the game, if at all. Wand of Mana Stealing, not the item he was looking for. He was most likely looking for either a Potion of Greater Healing or a Potion of Invulnerability, as he quickly sells that item there. Now, getting the Naga Sea Witch early did open up 120 to put in a little bit more pressure, but at the same time, he is not going to be nearly as strong as, say, having the Lich out, as his opponent should be able to hire up a Lich, and that Lich is a much more powerful second hero than a third. Death Knight going to go ahead and clear out the remainder of this creep camp here. Meanwhile, this 544 creep camp down to the south, the Ogre Maulers and the Forest Troll Berserkers will get cleared up as well. Death Knight gonna stay at level 2. Witch does get to level 2 as well, and that Witch with 3 circlets of nobility and a claws of attack plus 6 is actually a damage bonus. That is so much additional damage, so much extra mana that it could actually be kind of scary, as the Death Knight does have a replenishment potion being used. What does that mean? Well, a replenishment potion, very, very useful indeed. However, it looks like it did end up ending, or he got attacked, as the Forest Troll Trapper will get taken down. Is the Death Knight going to get to level 3? Yes, the Naga Sea Witch is leaving purposefully in order to give that extra bit. And you now see a 4th Circlet of Nobility, plus 8 to every stat. That Naga Sea Witch is almost acting like a level 4 Naga Sea Witch in terms of stats. Very, very powerful indeed. 775 hit points. Each of those Circlets of Nobility giving an additional 50 hit points, so up from 575 to 775 there. Alright, Black Citadel nearly done. We should be looking at the Lich now being added here up in just a moment. The Lich with that Orb of Corruption should be extremely powerful. Meanwhile, Death Knight is going to be regrouped with the Lich off over here. It does have a Rod of Necromancy, as the Black Citadel is nearly done. Now, 120 is using this opportunity to creep, and so is Infi. They don't want to spend their time, wasting their time trying to figure out where their opponent is. They're going to use the bare minimum to do that, perhaps with a little bit of scouting. But what they want to make sure they are not doing is trying to chase a moving target. If their opponent ends up clearing 1 or 2 creep camps more than them, then that ends up hurting them in the long run. The fact that Infi is also clearing out the opponent's orange creep camp is actually a very big deal. As you can see, there goes the last huntsman. There it goes, as the Death Knight now no longer has access to a very, very powerful creep. Now, this is a little bit of a gambit though. 120 perhaps realizing his opponent had cleared out that creep camp says, you know what? Now that you have no real reason to be in this neck of the woods, short for scouting out an expansion, something which Undead is not really known for doing, I'm going to actually set up an expansion here. If I can make this game go long and get the economic advantage, I will be able to come out ahead. And unless you scout it, it's my perfect ninja expansion. Naga Sea Witch coming in from 120, already sitting at is at level 2. Lich sitting at level 1, has the Orb of Corruption, Claws of Attack, and 1 Circlet of Nobility handed over. 5 Circlets of Nobility between the red army right there. And you got to remember, Circlets of Nobility are plus 6 total stats. Boots of Quell the Loss, Robe of Magi, Belt of Giant Strength, those are all plus 6 items as well. And that's the reason why they are often so much stronger than many people give them credit for. Alright, attack coming through, silence onto the Death Knight. units trying to chase down Death Knight in that very, very forward position. As you see the Lich still, well, getting that -5 armor debuff onto that Lich there. All right, this Lich could be in a little bit of trouble. Does have a potion of lesser invulnerability. Death Knight coming across and finishes off the Lich with the help of a Fork Lightning. There goes another Crypt Fiend there, and Infi losing a lot of units needlessly, perhaps overestimating his position, and is now on the run. Let's take a look at the overall population count, 47 compared to 49. But it really feels like Infi is the one that has to do a lot of retreating, and that's exactly what 120 wants. 120 needs time to set up this expansion, and he's going to be able to do exactly that as Acolytes are now making their way back down. Lich going to go ahead and try and engage here. Crypt Fiends, however, not very useful at taking down buildings, and this is always one of the biggest problems of the Undead army. You have an army that is good at fighting your opponent's army, but it is not very good at taking down buildings. A 475 hit point building with the main focus of the entire army still took about 20 to 30 seconds to be completed. Now, Altar of Darkness, a building that actually does represent something of some relative importance, now being forced to pull back here. Lich should be able to make its way out in just a moment, and with that, Lich is now out. Does have Rod of Necromancy. We'll see where all of these units are going to be going. Up to 120 mana already, as it does need a lot of that essence of mana. Crypt Fiends are now in the backfield here. All right, getting in some additional damage. Death Knight now already running all the way to the back. This Lich could be in trouble. Death Coil does save it as the Death Knight gets to level 4. Lich still trying to run around here, and really Infi is in trouble as the Lich falls right as it came out, or at least within the 30 seconds. Death Knight, a Dark Ranger is saved once again. I don't believe the Dark Ranger was actually that low on hit points. Perhaps a little bit of a misclick as the Crypt Fiend does get taken down there. A little bit of focus fire is all it takes to really get saved here, as the Death Knight does have a Ring of Regeneration. Death Coil saving that Crypt Fiend there as excuse me, units are still in a massive battle. All right, damage still being absorbed on both sides. Let's take a look. That Crypt Fiend could get taken down to 41-18. Any more shots? No. 29 hit points. Ends up staying alive. Death Knight in the front line is silenced. And this is where, well, Infi does have a little bit of a benefit. He's on Blight while his opponent is not. But he still ends up using a Dark Ranger as well. Lich needs to get resurrected. Dark Ranger needs to get resurrected. Death Knight means that he will be gaining all this experience if he in fact can finish off a unit. This is a big problem indeed, as the Crypt Fiends are now trying to fight their way back. Abomination needs to join in on the fight, get in some bonus damage. No disease cloud as of yet, as it looks as though another Crypt Fiend was taken down. Both sides still fighting their way through. Abomination down to 558 hit points. Looks like he will get focused down in just a matter of seconds, as the Lich is now back out. Lich ready to go. Double obsidian statues. Damage is starting to get absorbed by that Death Knight, or now by the Crypt Fiends. Crypt Fiend now finally taken down. Ghouls getting taken out as well, as the Lich is doing a great job focusing down. And this is showing the determination of Infi. Infi is using a great job of that Orb of Corruption, -5 armor, and then getting the burrow off. Wow, that Crypt Fiend was burrowed for quite some time, but that slow attack from the Crypt Fiend still finally found its mark, as we are still fighting to finish off the remaining units. All right, Lich is in serious trouble. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. He does not want to use it. Is he going to be forced to use it? Indeed. No. Death Coil in with the save, as the Lich could come in with more and more attacks. All right, there's the engagement again. Oh, going on to the Naga Sea Witch. Naga Sea Witch also has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Death Coil now saving Infi's Lich again, as the units are now in a mad rad dash again. Death Knight unable to save that Crypt Fiend. No more mana for Death Coils for that heal, as he is still chasing after some units. No Frost Novas, as the Lich is currently low on mana. And who is going to be able to come out on top? Crypt Fiend's getting in some easy shots and some easy damage here. Level 4 compared to level 3. That bonus 50 or 10% movement speed really making the difference, as now 120 unable to easily escape. The problem also is that the obsidian statues are not yet destroyers. However, as they turn into destroyers, they may end up getting taken down, as well as the Abomination absorbing a lot more damage than I would have expected. Abomination is healed for 400. May need to be backed off here in just a moment. Crypt Fiend, no, Death Knight up to level 4 now. Level 2 on Holy Aura. That movement speed bonus is now gone as we see another burrowed Crypt Fiend getting taken down. Lich, Death Coil. Death Knight now trying to make its way back. That Ring of Regeneration really healing up a lot of hit points on that Death Knight as the Lich, well, once again gets healed by a very, very close call Death Coil. Death Coil being the main culprit in this game so far. Lich down to 300 hit points, down to, well, where'd it go? Wow, down to 326. The Death Knight may be forced to try and heal it again. 53 supply for 120. Compared to 49 supply. Let's take a look at this 49 supply. Excuse me, the Infi's colors are in fact red, even though and 120 is blue while you look at this location here. All right, why would you purposely be attacking down your own units, taking down 2 of your own obsidian statues? That does not make sense at all. That really does not make sense at all. Not quite sure why you would do that. Convert them to destroyers, do something with them. Not quite sure what is going on here as the Crypt Fiends are just continuing to fight again. This mass Crypt Fiend battle, however, mass Crypt Fiends able to fight back, and Infi looking to be able to push back on the ropes. We are going to be healing back up. Perhaps you only needed 2 as an Abomination finally joins in on the fight. All right. Pushing back the other way, Crypt Fiends 2-0 upgrades compared to 2-1. You see an expansion is down here. You know exactly what is going on. A second graveyard being added for multiple upgrades as you now have 120 doing a bit of chasing against Infi's units. Infi's units are trying to chase. They are absorbing a little bit of damage as they're running, but 120 does have the larger army by far just because of that economic advantage. Death Knight may try and engage here. Death Coil could be inbound. Is it going to be inbound? Yes, there it is. Frost Nova, well, a little bit late right there. Ends up keeping alive for a little while longer, but he could drop in hit points fairly fast. Death Knight needs to heal another Crypt Fiend here. 2 low hit point units. Death Coil saving the front line Crypt Fiend. As you can see the engagement, now going back at it again. Lich, wow, split second. Frost Nova, Death Coil, not yet quite there. That was the difference as the Death Coil does land on the Lich here off to the north. Who is going to be able to win out that next battle? There goes one Crypt Fiend. Death Coil not in time as Crypt Fiends are getting focused down on both sides. Lich continuing to fight. Naga Sea Witch trying to pull back. Naga Sea Witch with 5 Circlets of Nobility and a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Meanwhile, the Lich here is sitting at 1 of his own. Plus 19 attack, though, between the Orb of Corruption and everything else. At the end of it all, 120 takes the game. Infi unable to really claw his way back. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.